Educators often emphasize the importance of parents' involvement in their child's education. And yet, you've observed, I sat in on a lecture you gave at Columbia maybe about a year or a year and a half ago, that a disproportionate number of startup founders come from broken homes. And so how do you understand how childhood trauma cultivates future entrepreneurs?
Yeah. No, I'm not advocating dysfunctional families. I'm just observing that not only have I have to tell you the story is that, I once was trying out this theory. A friend of mine who's a venture capitalist, but she's now retired, Catherine Gould. And I said, Catherine, I've noticed, and she looked at me like, the dog just talked, meaning it was, what an idiot, but kind of interesting. She said, Steve, that's what I selected for in my entire career. And then she said, why do you think I picked you? I said, holy cow, she was a shrink and a headhunter, and it turns out her background was as a headhunter, so she was very good at picking teams. So I'm going to first be clear that says, obviously there are people from normal families who do just fine. But here's the observation about survivors of dysfunctional families. Yeah. Not everybody goes through one. In fact, most don't survive. It is that if you've grown up in an environment that's completely chaotic, meaning when you open the door to that house, you had no idea what to expect. Your parent could be screaming or throwing things at you or nice or ignoring you or whatever. Or there was so much yelling and screaming or everything going on. Guess what? You've just been through startup training school. and there's no joke. Because a startup is an inherently chaotic environment with no right choices that are obvious. And you as a founder need to figure out how to focus and shut out everything else that's going on around you. Take a strategy and aim in a direction. And I will contend the survivors of dysfunctional families survived because they had the brain makeup and chemistry to kind of go do that. And so therefore, when you throw them in the middle of a mix of, things are breaking or you ran out of money or something else or which customers or this one quit or, your employees are melting down, you just got to sit there and go, hey, normal day at home, nothing different here. It doesn't mean to say that other people can't deal with this. I just find and by the way, the irony, it's one of the traits of startup CEOs who come from that background, is that they bring a Shakespearean tragedy with them. Because those that succeed eventually are building a repeatable and scalable company.
Yeah.
And when their companies start becoming repeatable, these founding CEOs become extremely uncomfortable because they are not comfortable in day-to-day operations that are actually unchaotic. And you will see these types of CEOs throw hand grenades into their own corporate culture and create chaos just because that's the operating mode they're comfortable with, and often destroy or at least limit the growth of their companies. And sometimes are the ones that you hear they remove the founder because not quite understanding, and no one understanding this psychodrama that was actually going on, which had bigger implications. And VCs are just worrying about, gee, we're about to go to profitability. Look what the founder's doing again. And the founder not quite understanding that actually, a couple of years of therapy could probably solve this. But right now you're about to destroy the value you built in your own company. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it most certainly does.